Okay, fantastic. So, thank you for having me today. My name is Jerry Janda. I'm with the Community and Influencers Advocate Team with SAP's Developer and Community Relations Organization. And just to give you a quick overview of my session today, I'm going to explain a little bit of my history with SAP Community and how I've used it over the years, and then give some history about the community itself and its evolution, which you might find interesting, particularly as you begin your journey or continue your journey with the community. From there, I'll explain a little bit some of the things you can find within the community and how and why you should participate fully and effectively within the SAP community. And then toward the end, I'll wrap up with some links and some important resources that I think will allow you to take full advantage of SAP community and all the things that it offers. Everything okay, Gregor? I thought I heard somebody in the background.
Yeah, it's all
okay.
good.
All good? Oh, good. Okay, great. So this is me. This is my profile within the community. I should update it a little bit, but I just love the round numbers of 100 blog posts and 900 tags contributed to, but it's a bit more than that nowadays. But if you go to people.sap.com/jerry.janda, and I'll pop that in the chat maybe toward the end there, you can follow me on the community if you have an account already. I always do follow people back, and that way if you have additional questions that we don't get to here today because it is a short session, or even further down the road if you want to connect, I'd love to hear from you. So but personally, I started with SAP more than 15 years ago, closer to 20 if you count my years as a contractor or working on SAP.com. During that time, I've held a variety of marketing and communication roles, almost always focused on some form of writing, which is why you see that I have all those blog posts there. But I probably did my first blog post back in 2010. Just to give you some sense, like the community itself is a little bit longer than that. We'll get into that in a second. I became officially part of SAP Community though in 2016, right around when we made the transition from what was known as SCN or the SAP Community Network to SAP Community. I'll talk about that in a second, that transition. And initially, I focused on communications and engagement within the community. Nowadays, though, I focus on something called the SAP Champions Influencer Program. Toward the end of this conversation or this presentation, I'll share a few links in the chat that might give you some more information about the program. I am happy to see before I got started here, I did look at all the participants in the room and I saw quite a few SAP champions in there. So it's always good to see some friendly faces when doing something like this. So here briefly is a history of the community. You can see it stretches all the way back to 2003. To what was known as SDN or the SAP Developer Network. Then it became SCN, which is the SAP Community Network, which is what I had mentioned before. And then to what we are now today, which is SAP Community. I think a lot of people still out of habit refer to the community as either SDN or SCN, but SAP Community is what we are these days. And this is what we look like nowadays. You can always go to community.sap.com. These numbers do change, but these are some of the more recent ones. We do have nearly 3 million users, adding up to about 300,000 visits per day, close to 125,000 blog posts, and more than 1 million questions answered. When we talk about the users, think it's more technically minded folks like yourselves, developers, partners, consultants, even SAP employees, employees such as product teams and those involved in development. That's not strictly the case though. I'm not a developer myself. So you'll find all kinds of additional content in there. So if you even were looking to write about things or read about things like business trends or thought leadership pieces, you'll find that type of information within the community as well. This is sort of at a high level the different things we offer within the community. If you're already involved in the community, this is probably nothing new to you, but I might give you some ideas on how you might take advantage of some of these areas in ways you haven't thought of before. So first of all, there's questions and answers, which I would describe as our bread and butter. I think the vast majority of people who come to the community are looking to get quick answers to questions they might have about SAP solutions or development or things like that. From your perspective, that means you can come and get access to information, questions, the problems you might be having, but it's also an opportunity for you as an expert to sort of answer questions and establish yourself as a knowledgeable expert, capable of educating your peers. And I think that's pretty powerful for those of you who are sort of looking to establish yourself and show people that you really know your area of expertise. Blogging is a great way for you to build your own personal brand. That's, as you saw before, that's sort of where I focus my energies. Not being a developer, not being technically minded, I can't really answer a lot of questions unless they're questions about the community themselves, of course. But I do love to write blog posts and publish blog posts, and those are mostly about the community itself. But for you, if you're really knowledgeable in a specific area, you might want to go in and share that through a blog post, and then people can begin over time to recognize you as an expert in in your area, begin to follow you, begin to connect with you. So that's another powerful way I think that you can use the SAP community. Then the reputation program, it actually rewards you for those types of activities. So you can earn badges, you can fulfill missions for answering questions in a way that get a lot of upvotes from your peers, or writing blog posts that get a lot of views and upvotes and things like that. So the more valuable content you provide to the community, the more it begins to reflect in your own reputation, which is something that people can see on your profile page, which is that thing I had shown earlier. Personalization, speaking of the profile page, is where you can show off your things like your badges. You can provide information about yourself, your areas of expertise. So if people do come and look at your profile page, they can get a snapshot of who you are and what you are doing within the community, just as that slide a couple slides back for my account page showed you what those things are. And you can also follow content, follow people, that sort of thing. If you follow me and I follow you back, that allows direct messaging. So again, I encourage you to follow me. I will follow you back. That way, if you do have questions, because I only have a few more minutes left here, I'm afraid. I could talk all day about this, but you can always reach out to me, and I'd be happy to exchange information or answer any questions. Coffee Corner is a fun little area within the community. I'll have a link for that as well toward the end of the call. It's more of an off-topic area, so not everybody wants to come in and talk shop all day. If you want to go in and talk about maybe something that you're interested in, a hobby, see what your peers are up to. There's a lot of conversations going on there right now where people are talking about working from home and going back into the office, very timely type conversations that aren't related to products and technology, but I think that people might find interesting. Events, I probably don't need to speak about events since we're all on this call right now. You probably know enough about events already. And then topic pages for some of the high level topics or tags within the community. They have dedicated pages which become a resource, so you can find additional information there. So just to begin to wrap up here, just leave this up for a minute. Again, we're at community.sap.com. If you go there, if you've never done anything with the community before, that second link is something, it would be a great place for you to start, I think. It's called Tour the SAP Community. It covers at a high level all the things I've already talked about, so it can walk you through all the areas and show you the different things you can do to get the most out of your SAP community experience. Follow people, tags, Q&A, start with me, please. That way you can get notifications and stay in touch with things and get notifications when the information that interests you most is updated. Questions and answers, that's answers.sap.com. As I said earlier, that's where people tend to go. I know I'm kind of at time here. Coffee Corner, and then you can go to community.sap.com/resources, and that will give you even more information for all the things that I just covered. And I'll just leave this next slide up for 1 second so I can wrap up here. If anybody wants to grab those, that'll get you right to the tutorial if you wish, or if you don't want to type in community.sap.com, that'll get you there as well. And on that note, I think that's it for my time. I really do appreciate you giving me a slot on the event today, and I hope you found this useful. Again, please do reach out if you have any additional questions. And thanks again.